got a special opportunity now. We're just going to have an open conversation with Barry and Rosemary Bray, who are caregivers. And we're going to talk about their journey. And they're going to share about some of their experiences, hopefully to encourage, hopefully to challenge, and hopefully to give us a little information. So let's start off, Rosemary, with just sharing about how your journey began, who's involved in that journey, who's included, and where are some of the transition points that you've been on your journey.
Well, I'm sorry, that's really loud. So I never hear my own voice, so it's kind of weird. Basically, it started out with my parents, my mother and my father, who both live in Nancy, Richard and Marilyn Clonch. And when they were living there, it was kind of like I was getting, my mom liked to go around town. She likes to go shop. She likes to go everywhere and drive. My dad doesn't like to go anywhere. So I was at work and getting phone calls constantly about, oh, your mother was just here, and I just talked to her, but she didn't seem like herself, things like that. And I go, okay, and I would go check on her, and find out. And then, I'm sorry. And okay. And then one time I was told she was at Walmart and she had lost her purse and locked her keys in her car and just all kinds of things like that. So I was constantly on edge all the time, wondering where she's going to go next and if she's going to get lost or what was happening. So, you get phone calls about that all the time. So, and then this was in 2023. So it was like, I think that's right. Am I right? Okay. So it was constantly doing things like that and making sure they were safe and, making sure they had groceries and, things like that. And then I kind of connected with Dason and Richie, Dr. Richie and Rebecca. And they kind of helped me figure out some things and figure out their level of where they were. And Mom was really reluctant about giving up the car keys and things like that. Didn't want to do that at all. So it was a process, and they helped me figure that out. It got to a point where Dad started falling at home, and Mom would try to find help. So one night she got out of the house, got in the car, and if you know Nancy, Kentucky, it's not very busy, but she did drive the car down to in front of their house and was standing in the middle of the road flagging people down trying to get help. And it just so happens that a deputy sheriff found her and called an ambulance and got my dad to the hospital, and that started the process of me taking them out of their home and bringing them to live with us. So then it went on from there, and they were with us quite a while, and we weren't getting much sleep. So then I figured out some in-home care, and that's when Rebecca and Dason came to our house and started helping us figure out how to go through this journey together, and they were so helpful. Anyway, and then we figured out some in-home care, and it was like we had babysitting during the day, but at night we were still on call, and it was him up at night and confused and wanting to get ready at 3:00 in the morning. He wanted to go in the bathroom and shave. So we were just up and doing things all night long. So it got to where, Dad got really sick at Christmas, and we had to end up going to the ER that night. And I'm a frequent flyer to the Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital ER. I think they need to give you points for that because there's some kind of system. You need to set up a system, or I'll talk to them about that for me, okay? But anyway, started that journey, and Dad went into the hospital. He never really came home. He stayed there for a while, and then he went to Somerset Nursing and Rehab. So he's been there ever since because he's needing full-time care.
And January of 24.
Yeah, and then we're into January 24 now. So that was Christmas night of 23. So I was at the ER that night. Anyway, then January 24, Mom started living with us full time and staying with us, and I was still having care during the day and still up a lot at night and stuff like that. And it was like she would, be okay during the day when people were there, but you still worry, and at night and have to take care of the things that were going on then and try to get up and go to work every day. But I had to try to figure out something different because she was needing something more. My mom has to stay busy. She likes looking at pictures. If you've ever been to visit her house was covered with all of the old photographs that we had from way back when we were kids. And some of them I didn't like, so I would sneak them out and get rid of them. But anyway, but now if you ever go to visit her now, her room is still got pictures. And she's a piddler. She has to do things with her hands. So she's constantly playing with her clothes in her closet. So I'm all the time getting her new clothes to put in her closet so she can have something to look at. But if you ever go there, clothes are everywhere. So I'll tell her, Mom, you need to clean your room. She used to say to me. So it's like the roles are reversed completely. So that was, you got her settled and she was happy and doing well. And then all of a sudden we're into November of 24 and my aunt and uncle, my uncle had cancer and he has since passed, but we started having to start taking care of them too, because I'm basically their child too. They had no children, so I was their only child per se. So I took on the role as their caregiver also, which meant with him having cancer, he started into UK hospital.
44 days.
44 days there. On Thanksgiving Day, he went there. And he was there for 44 days. So I was having to arrange different people to transport my aunt back and forth constantly to see him and visit. And then I was having to go to her house and spend the night with her at her house, which at her house, she would not sleep in her own bed. We had to sleep on the couch. So she had her couch, I had my couch, and we just kind of did our thing until it got to be more than I could do. So
she was up and down all night.
She was up and down all night too. So, and she had a little dog too that was in the house. So, yeah. Which I think I don't know if dogs can get sundowners or not, but I think they take on their owner's personalities a little bit. But he was everywhere all night long too, and so it was a crazy night or two, for a few nights. I was there for about
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. He has to help me keep remembering things too, so I think I'm getting memory loss. But anyway, that went on, and I finally talked to my uncle, and I asked him if he could help me with getting my aunt into respite care. And with the Highlands, Tasha's here with us today, and they're great, they're wonderful, I love them. So if you ever need anybody, she's really good. So I asked if I could get a respite room and got my aunt into the respite room over at the Highlands, and she wouldn't stay in it. She had to have somebody there with her. So she was actually going to my mom's room down the hall. My Aunt Susie was staying on my mom's couch, like teenagers, I guess. Anyway, so she was staying there every night. We were paying good money for a respite room, and she wouldn't stay in it. So anyway, so I said, oh, I have an idea. Let me put them in together. Tasha, do you have a bigger room? And they found me a larger room. And I moved them in, got them both their own little bed, and had it all set up, and it was so cute. And actually, I'm a decorator for all of these. Yeah. So if anybody needs help decorating a room at the Highlands or assisted living facilities, I'm really good at it. Anyway, so I put them in a room together. That lasted
about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. And they started fighting. So this is my mom and then my dad's sister. So they got along pretty good most of their lifetime, but not now. Mom was touching her clothes, or, my mom likes to piddle, like I said. So she would get in her closet and look at her things, and she didn't like that. Susie was not happy about that. So one night I just had all I could take, and I went over and I just started taking their beds apart. And I was taking my mom back to her old room, and I said, hopefully that room's still open. And I just started moving furniture, and it's completely on one side of the facility to the other. and I was just dragging furniture down the hallway. So anyway, he came and helped me when he could. So, but I got them moved apart again, and they got along much better after that for some reason. So, but anyway, that's where that was. And my uncle ended up passing in April of this year. But I was at the ER one weekend. It was Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday, and it seemed like every time we would try to leave, or even just for a day or two, or going to go, we went on vacation, we'd get phone calls, and we were on the phone constantly with doctors and people who were taking care of him. And the doctors at UK hospital were awesome. Awesome. Also, we were in Florida, and I was on the phone call constantly on our vacation with them, and they told us that we needed to get home as quickly as we could because he was in hospice care there. So he passed in April, but I can leave in the meantime.
So yeah, so this will give you all the whole picture. So this is starting in 23, and all through 24, they're caring for Rosemary's mother and father, and then also her aunt and her uncle. And then I'm going to let Barry speak to in 2024 about his parents, and to let you get the whole exam of what their journey consisted of.
Actually, my dad started showing signs of cognitive issues probably in 2019 or 2020. But he and mom were such homebodies, he never got out. They never went anywhere other than church, home, church, home. So it didn't really affect anybody. They weren't in any danger. They knew how to get to church and back, and so that was no issue. But mom started noticing more and more cognitive issues with dad, so he was diagnosed with dementia in 2020, and then just continued to decline from there. And they both, mom was able to care for dad up until January of 24, and they both, we would call and check on them, and everything was fine. We don't need anything. We're good. No, we don't need anything. But come to find out, she was spiraling downhill physically from taking care of dad. So long story short, they both ended up in the ER and got admitted to the hospital because they were both malnourished and dehydrated. Dad never came back home from that. He stayed 3 weeks at the hospital and then transitioned to Somerset Nursing. And he ended up going back to the hospital a couple times from there, but again, never came back home. He ended up being put in hospice at the hospital and passed June 29th of 24. And we, as a family, and I do have the support of two brothers which live here. They were very helpful, and we met as a family after the funeral and everything, and tried to talk to mom, and she said, "Leave me alone and let me die. I want to go be with your dad." So after we met with her and tried to tell her that we were going to do everything we could to take care of her, but she had to help us. So my two brothers and I discussed it, and we said she will not last 6 months. At the rate she's going, she wouldn't eat. She had no appetite. And then we started noticing a lot of cognitive things with her. It's mostly short term. She would ask you to go check the mail for her, but she would be sitting and opening the mail that you had just gone and got and brought in. And then she would ask questions repeatedly, and it was the same questions and giving the same answers, but she couldn't remember those. But as we said, she wouldn't last 6 months, but 6 months to the day she passed away, December 28th of 24. So I lost both mom and dad within a 6 month period in 24, but we still have her mom at the Highlands and her aunt, and then of course the loss of her uncle in April of this year.
And then my dad's still, yeah.
There are often times when we get caught up in our own lives. We consider our plate being full. But I wanted you to get the perspective of what Rosemary and Barry have been walking through for the last 5 years, specifically in the last year and a half, because there's going to be some important questions that I want them to talk through. But, you know, Scripture calls us to honor our parents, honor our mother. I think they've done a wonderful job of it. So here's a question that's important for us to understand. How do you share this role as spouses? And how do you support each other in this? Good and bad. So what are some of the struggles, but what are some of the things that kind of work as you work together?
Well, I'll say it's 90% her and 10% me. All I try to do is keep her going, try to keep her centered and grounded. But there's days where it's 10, 12 phone calls trying to get the aunt talked off a ledge because she's just losing it over nothing. Calling at 3 a.m. because there's nobody in the dining room to fix breakfast for her. And that happens a lot. And again, I just try to be there for her. She doesn't have any help. All of her siblings live away from here or choose not to participate. So it's all on her and then me trying to help her.
Well, I have the best support system ever with him, but I also have a very caring and loving church family too. That helps a lot. If you don't have that and you're going through this journey, find someone at church that'll help you. That's amazing to have. Rebecca and Dason's daughters are helping us now, so we've got them going over and just kind of just bringing the dog over to see my aunt at the Highlands makes her day. Or just, you know, Ellie would play their daughter would play their guitar for her, makes her day. Even just the little things, like when we go every Sunday morning and pick them up. I do their hair and get their outfits ready. And most of the time, if I pick my mom's outfit out on Saturday night, she's already got it on. She puts it on Saturday night and is ready for church the next day.
And sometimes while she's gone to get the aunt ready, park her mom in the dining room, her mom will forget why she's there and go to her room and change out of her clothes. She'll go back to her
room and take her clothes off. So it's a lot. But anyway, that's why I'm late to Sunday school every week. And I teach the little ones, and they're about like having toddlers. So anyway, it's you have to laugh or you're going to cry, and you know, it's just a journey that, you know, God's put in front of us, and we just take it one day at a time and just kind of work through it. And I know that Scott talked about some things that you do need to plan. Please plan. We went through some things with my parents, and the 5-year look back. I was going to say this to you about that because that's important. There's a clause. I think you may want to say something about this, or when you answer some questions later. But a loophole, I guess you call it, where you can put everything into a disabled child's name. Tell me if I'm wrong, Scott. Okay. And then put it into the trust. And that's what we had to do with my dad and my mom, because to get my dad on Medicaid. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be able to have the care facilities that we have. They couldn't afford it, and I can't afford to pay for it. So anyway, that's been very helpful. That's something you may want to talk to people about. But we have an attorney here in Somerset that helped us with that, and it's been really good. But that support system's been helpful too, because the lady who is at the attorney's office here in Somerset, Sabrina, her mom actually lives at the Highlands with my mom and my aunt now.
Just moved in.
And I decorated her room, and just saying. Anyway, I think I'm going to become their permanent decorator at the Highlands. So, but anyway, she's very helpful. I would have an issue with something going on, and there's tons of paperwork to it, right? And every day they would call, I need this paper, so I'd have to go fish out that paper somewhere. And if you know anyone with dementia at their home, fishing for paperwork and legal documents at their home is really difficult, especially when she likes the pictures so much, because it's all mixed in.
Mark, do you have a question?
No.
Anyway, go ahead.
I know better than to interrupt.
Oh,
is there an aspect to your role as a caregiver that one you find most rewarding, or is there an aspect to your role as a caregiver that you find just the most fatiguing?
I feel like God's put me in this role.
Amen.
But every time I go over there, there's always a little lady or a little gentleman that'll stop me and say, "You're a good daughter." They'll do that to me all the time. They'll give me a hug, and it keeps me moving. So there's a lot of little ladies there that want to say, "Miss Rosemary, come and talk to us," or whatever. And I will go. I don't just take care of my mom and my aunt. I go try to talk to all of them. But they're all just as sweet as they can be, and they just want someone to speak or say hello. And just taking them to church, it's really rewarding too, because we always when we take them home, do we have to go back? They want to get out. So sometimes I'll just go, let's go make a Dairy Queen run. So we all go get milkshakes, and then I'll bring milkshakes back for the caregivers too at the Highlands. So it's just something that's real rewarding. So
if you could speak to your family, or more even important, your church family, and let them know how best to help you, or how best to help those people who are in the caregiver roles right now, I'd love for you to talk about something tangible that people could do, or support, or even encourage. What have you seen that you've really been touched by, or what you would see? Because a lot of us who don't know what to do nothing, which is not good. So, give us some tips on how we can support you better.
I would say just this is to our church family and people we know that are around her mom and aunt, is just treat them like you would your mom or aunt. All they want is some attention, a hug. I mean, they leave church talking about how Dason and Rebecca were so nice to them, how they treated them, he gave me a hug. Dana, they can't stop talking about Dana.
Dana is their boyfriend, so they love him.
They fight over who's going to get his attention.
He's a flirt.
He is a flirt. But and it's just sometimes I just, like, tomorrow we can't, or Sunday we can't make it to church, so I've got some people who are going to go pick them up and take them for me. So I mean, just little things like that. I mean, we haven't had a vacation in a while or a day away, but the one time I went for your daughter's wedding, I think I got 22 phone calls in one day, which I want to take the cell phone away, but then I don't want to take the cell phone away because it's her.
It would drive the staff crazy.
Yeah, she would drive them crazy, but it's just just a quick little, "You're doing a good job," or just love on them. When they come to church, they get so many hugs, and that's something that means so much. So
a couple of things I want you to hear from that is those little things that we consider little, that pat on the back, that hug, that just the words speaking to them, "How are you doing today?" And understanding they may look at you with vacant eyes, but that interaction means a lot. And also what I heard Rosemary say was, if you're willing to stand in at a certain time, they might need a ride somewhere. They might need a doctor's appointment that they can't make. If you can make yourself known to somebody, a caregiver, of, "Hey, look, if you ever need somebody, give me a call." And if Rosemary has a list of 4 or 5 people she does and says, "I can't do this," she can go down that list and provide those things. Anything else tangible? Anything else support that everybody can say hi, everybody can give a hug. But what else is there, something we can do?
That's enough.
Okay.
I'm such a doer. I don't like to ask for help, but you know me. Sometimes just push me aside and say, "Here, let me do that." So
it don't work.
It don't work.
He knows me so well. So I just feel like one day he's going to be doing this same thing for me and put me in a home somewhere. But Tasha's ready to take. I've already said that they just need to make a room for me because I go over there most of the time morning before I go to work and then evening when I get off. So, and sometimes it's just to go in and turn on their TV because those TVs are terrible, hard to figure out. It's a couple of extra buttons that you have to push, so it's hard. You don't just push a button and turn it on. It's different. So, but anyway, it's great being here. And like I said, I can't thank Dason and Rebecca enough, and everybody that's in this room, most of my church family members, and everyone at the Highlands, and Dana just giving an extra hug, so because they fight over him, they really do. But.
All right, so here's the next question. Here's an important question that we all need to know. We know we serve a sovereign God. So during this process, during this time, this stage of life, what has God taught you, and how has God revealed Himself to you in this midst?
He's taught us patience. He's taught us that a lot of times we can't do it in and of ourselves, even though we're trying, and we should just turn to Him and say, God, this is yours. We know you can handle it, you can take care of it, and let Him do His thing instead of us trying to do it all on our own.
I have a prayer hotline, so it's directly to Rebecca Ritchie. And sometimes I'll be standing in the middle of my work and she'll be praying with me over the phone.
Yep.
So if you don't have that, find someone that'll do that for you. You don't know how many times that's gotten me through the day. Because things will happen. It's just crazy things, especially when my uncle was still alive. I was trying my best to help. And he was an insurance guy like Dana, but very precise on everything. You had to make sure everything was every T crossed and every I dotted. So he wouldn't release control of anything. So it was very frustrating at times because I needed to do things, but I also needed to work, and I needed to take care of the other two that I have and my aunt. So it was like, please just let me do this for you. And it was very difficult. So there were times when I got a lot of pushback and a lot of, just family members thinking I was trying to take advantage of them. But I don't want to do that. I just want to help. So, but God has taught me a lot of patience and a lot of releasing things to other people sometimes. Sometimes just getting them to church and without breaking down is a real trial for me. So, but here I am.
One of the best things you can do if you know a caregiver is make sure that caregiver knows they don't walk alone. And you can affirm that to them. And sometimes you hear it once, but sometimes you need to hear it often and frequently. Hopefully you've been moved a little bit. Hopefully you've been encouraged. Hopefully you've been challenged. And they're willing to, in the time we have left, if you've got any questions about what their day looks like or how, whatever they'd be more than willing to answer any questions you might have.
You're a doer, you're an organizer, so what would you suggest, like for our firm, to help clients that are going through all these stressors? How would we be able to help them get everything together? What would you see? What would be a really good help for them?
Do you have a workbook that someone could use? I mean, just the things like us trying to get the trust set up. It was like, just give me a list of things I have to find, and then tell me what I need to do next. Just if you had a workbook or something that you could go through, because Barry and I've, since we've been through what we've been through, we're thinking, well, we need to get to somewhere right now. We've had a will since we were first married. 21 years. He was 21. Anyway, but we just looked at it recently because we were going through things, and it says that our daughter was to be my aunt and my uncle, my Aunt Susie, was our to be able to. She was the guardian. Yeah, what I was trying to say. But we went ahead and just redid our will recently. So, but we're gonna make sure it says what you said about the Scott.
Maybe a notebook?
A notebook would be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
checklist, just things that people our age and caregivers need to get ready for. I mean, you don't even realize what kind of paperwork you need. There's, I had to find every check. I had to get bank accounts. I'm power of attorney for the 3 that we have left, and for my aunt and my mom and my dad both. So there's constantly something that you have to sign or do, or there's doctor's appointments and things like that. But just to get the Medicaid set up was a real challenge.
It's a big deal.
Yes.
Would you suggest that a gift to caregivers would be something like a nice little notebook that has all the things to be thinking about and gathering?
That would be awesome.
Be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So when your mom first went to the facility, was there lots of repetitive questions on, I just want to go home, or this is not my home? Explain a little bit how to redirect that.
Can everybody hear the question? Okay, let me repeat it then. She just asked when her mom first went into the facility, or her aunt, were there a lot of repetitive questions like, I want to go home, I don't want to be here, when am I going to get to go home? Anything else? Okay.
There were those questions, but it was kind of like dropping your child off at daycare the first day. I got the room really cutely decorated, and so anyway, I made it kind of feel like home. Her furniture was all new, so I wanted her to kind of feel like she had a gift, you know. But the other thing was there was great caregivers there. Their nurses' aides were there, and I'm not sure if you were there at the time, Tasha, but the girl who was before you had a dog who wore pajamas all the time. And they brought that dog in. And mom's not really a dog person, but she thought that was the cutest dog ever. But that was so helpful. So if your facility doesn't have that type of people working for them, you need a new facility because those people, they're like children, and it was just like going to the daycare. But I was there, I left her when I went to work, came back in the evening, made sure she was okay, and she cried when I first left, like a little kid, and then when I got there that evening, she was perfectly fine. So, but I would suggest.
I noticed when this is for my dad, when I visit, total different experience. When my mother visits, it's very more traumatic probably for her than it is for me.
Yeah.
She is very black and white. There's no redirecting or it's 2 different personalities, and so I just can't imagine just telling someone every day, no, you can't come home, it's not safe. But I'm just wondering if it's just a repetitive question
Now
that
with
it's just part of
More so with her.
my Aunt
her aunt.
Susie is like that. Like every few days, there's I want to go home. Susie, it's not safe for you there. And I don't know if I said this or not, but we also got her dog, Peanut. So we're taking care of Peanut now. But I, give Peanut a bath and take him to see her all the time. So, and she's constantly calling me she has I think some anxiety too. So she's constantly calling, nobody likes me here, or I don't feel at home here. I want to go to my house, and she's crying. And then that's really hard to redirect. So that's very stressful for me. So I tell her, look, I'm going to come and get you tomorrow morning, and we'll go get your nails done. And I do. I take them to the nail salon, and we get nails and pedicures, and then we go. Her thing is shopping. That's the problem.
It's your problem.
Because it's my problem too. But hey, I inherited that. So anyway,
You can't inherit from an aunt.
yes, you can. Yeah. But anyway, she taught me well. So anyway, I take them shopping, and that just it redirects her. It makes her happy. And she'll last Sunday she said, "I've had the best day." After we go and do things together, we take them out to lunch every Sunday and just have a good time. So I just want them to feel like they're a normal person, like we're best friends and we're just doing things together instead of I'm caring for them.